I think the most important word is excitement. Excitement for the program to have a chance to compete. The kids on the team have been working hard. We had a good fall. A lot of new faces with the program, but it'll be great to see them get into some live action against competition, and that's ultimately what the kids want. And we're excited about the freshman class and a couple of transfers. It's interesting. A lot of my peers around the country have been talking, over 500 days since a game. That is true for some of our players, but due to some injuries in the 19 season, we've got some guys that, have not played a competitive game for the Badgers since the 2018 season. So, looking forward to getting them back on the field. And it doesn't get any more difficult than to go on the road at Indiana. Obviously a top program in the Big Ten and nationally, but it'll be a great test. And I know the guys are looking forward to boarding the bus on Thursday.
We've got a question from Alec.
Hi, Coach. With everything that's been going on with this pandemic and college athletics and things, what has the approach to this season been like? Can you just kind of walk us through what practice has been like, and now it's games? And as you even said, you got guys that have gone a long period of time without playing a game. What has this been like?
Well, we're normally a fall sport, obviously, and due to the pandemic, arrangements were made for us to have a Big Ten only schedule this spring. In some ways, it was beneficial, I think, for our guys, because some guys were still returning from injuries, but we had 3.5 months with the freshmen, kind of teaching them a little bit about the culture of the program and what it means to be a Badger athlete. And so I think in some ways that's been good for us. And I'm sure a lot of coaches around the country feel the same way. We were able to get outdoor at UBay at our training facility basically all fall. Now we're in the McLean facility. Very fortunate to have that on campus. I guess the biggest difference is it's a little chilly on our way to training every day, or antigen testing. But yeah, the guys are excited, and once they get their boots on and we're able to work with them, we're seeing some great growth, which is always exciting for the coaching staff.
Further questions for Coach Trask?
I got a quick follow-up. Coach,
Sure.
I imagine guys, are they chomping at the bit to finally get a game in after all this time and just practice?
No question. I think, anyone who's involved in sports at this level, from the players to the coaches, we've been looking forward to it. They want to test themselves against someone else. They've gone after each other enough in the past 5 months or so. They want to compete, and got a couple of our top front runners finally healthy again, and Noah Mielek and Andrew Akindelli, and we got some amends to make up for the 19 season, and we're looking forward to it. And 10 games, all Big Ten. The way the schedule sets up is we play everybody once, and then we play our closest rivals, Northwestern and Indiana, twice, home and away. And then we move on to the Big Ten tournament and hopefully the national tournament, if we can perform at the level we need to.
We have a question from Todd Maluski.
Hey, John, how did you find a place to play this season, given that your field is under a foot of snow right now, I guess?
Back when we first started talking about the possibility of a season, all the Big Ten coaches worked very hard to come up with alternatives, whether it be on-site indoor facilities, potentially turf options, and then obviously game fields, weather permitting. We're, I guess, lucky in a way. Rockford, which isn't too far away, has a beautiful indoor facility, full-size field that both the men's and the women's programs will be utilizing. If weather permits, I don't imagine by the 23rd that we're going to be playing outdoor, but they also have a very nice turf facility right across the parking lot from the indoor facility. So through senior staff and our events planning, there's been a lot of work that's gone into it, and I I compliment the folks down in Rockford for helping the Badgers out. It's a great group of people. We've known them a long time, Louis Matus and his staff, and we think it's going to be, as good an environment as possible without being obviously in our home digs at McClyman playing on the grass.
Alec, you had a follow-up question?
John, what do you like about this team? And obviously, it's a funky season, kind of as it is. But what do you like with your group, and who should we kind of keep an eye out for going into the season?
We feel we've got a very strong goalkeeping core, which is very important for a soccer team. We brought in a transfer, Moritz Kappelsberger, who will help the back line, and we should be pretty secure back there. And then I think we've got a good attacking group. And, I've said it to a few of the players, including, the leadership group, that, you show me a soccer team that's got good goalkeeping, a good back line, you play some stingy defense, and you got some guys that could pull off some plays up the field. That's been a recipe, not just in collegiate soccer, but the history of soccer. We'd love to dominate every category. But at the end of the day, wins and losses usually happen because you've got good players or not good players in those positions. So I think up the spine, we're strong if we could play to our strengths and obviously stay away from maybe what our perceived weaknesses are and continue to mature this young group. I think the spring sets up very nicely for us.